The story begins, and it was nighttime. An elderly man arrived at a police station selling balloons. The officer on duty was looking at the photo of a dangerous criminal at that moment. The old man said that he had come to deliver a birthday balloon to a police officer. But the officer on duty felt that his face looked exactly like the wanted criminal in the photo. In reality, that old man was not an ordinary person. He was the same escaped prisoner. The officer was just about to recognize him when the old man suddenly attacked and killed him on the spot. Hearing someone approaching from outside, he sat down on the officer's chair. 2 more officers arrived, and he told them that someone had shot his partner. As they tried to check the condition of the officer, he revealed that he himself had killed him and then murdered both of them one by one. Just then, another officer came out from inside, saw the bodies on the ground, and became alert. But he did not immediately draw his gun. The old man tricked him as well and killed him. Meanwhile, a female police officer ran in after hearing the noise and told the old man to surrender. But he suddenly attacked her too. Fortunately, she survived and ran toward the prisoner's area. Instead of hiding, she risked her life to change the security door password of the jail so that the prisoners inside would remain safe. The bulletproof glass could protect her for a while, but she knew the door wouldn't last long. Actually, the root of this entire incident began a few hours earlier. That day, the police chief and the female officer were on duty. The chief was about to give a toy pistol to his 1-year-old daughter for her birthday. Just then, they received news of a disturbance at a nearby wedding. Both of them rushed to the scene. There, an unknown man attacked the female officer. That man's name was Teddy. He was immediately arrested for the attack and brought to the police station. In reality, Teddy had attacked intentionally so that the police would arrest him because a killer was chasing him and he wanted to save himself. The female officer noticed bullet wounds on Teddy's body, but he didn't reveal anything. Instead of taking him to a hospital, he was treated at the station. The officer suspected that he was hiding something, but he remained silent. After a while, they received information about a car on the highway with bullet marks. 2 officers went there, where a drunk driver tried to crash into their vehicle. He was also arrested and brought to the station. At the station, Teddy wanted to call his wife after getting treated, but the call didn't connect. He left a voicemail asking her to immediately hide with their son. Then he was locked in a jail cell. The drunk man who had been arrested had only an insulin injection, which the police stored in the evidence locker. He was placed in a cell opposite Teddy. At first, everyone thought he was unconscious. But when everyone left, he suddenly stood up. He started mimicking Teddy's every move. That's when Teddy recognized him. He was Bob, the same killer who had been chasing him. Teddy panicked and started shouting. But when the police came, Bob pretended to be drunk and loudly revealed the hiding place of Teddy's wife and son to scare him. The police thought both were crazy and scolded them before leaving. After some time, a police officer named Hubo arrived, who was secretly working with gangsters. He replaced the real white powder in evidence with fake powder. At that moment, white smoke started coming out of Bob's confiscated insulin. The fire alarm went off in the station. Meanwhile, Bob attacked his accomplice and left him badly injured. Both Teddy and Bob shouted for help, but no one heard them. Just then, the police chief rushed inside. Bob cleverly pretended that his partner had collapsed due to a seizure. As the chief bent down to check on him, Bob suddenly attacked him, grabbed his revolver, and then attacked Teddy. Hearing gunshots, other officers rushed in. The female officer aimed her old single-shot gun and stopped Bob. When 2 more officers arrived, Bob surrendered. The police chief was injured in the shooting but survived. The drunk prisoner was severely wounded. His throat was broken. The female officer immediately performed a tracheotomy on his neck and saved his life. After that, the female officer returned to Teddy and asked why Bob wanted to kill him. But Teddy still didn't reveal the truth. Both of them were hiding something. In anger, the officer decided to lock both of them in the same cell. Teddy got scared and immediately said he didn't want that. During this time, his real identity began to emerge. Teddy was not an ordinary man. He was a middleman among powerful and wealthy people. He arranged secret deals between politicians and mafia. Some time ago, a wealthy businessman had asked him to connect with the Attorney General of Nevada to secretly open a casino. But when the Attorney General refused, the businessman had him killed. Teddy knew everything, so now they were trying to kill him as well. The first time, he somehow survived and, while escaping, took millions of dollars from those wealthy people. Later, he even made a deal with the FBI to hand over evidence in exchange for his safety. However, his contact with the FBI was being handled by two corrupt officers who were working for that same businessman. When they were about to kill him, an FBI team arrived, leading to a fierce shootout. Teddy escaped and came to the police station for protection. Now the entire truth was in front of the female officer. She immediately sent two officers to investigate the location of the shootout that Teddy had mentioned. But they found no bodies or bullet marks there. This raised suspicion that something was wrong. The female officer also contacted the Las Vegas police. They said that Teddy had a dark past, connections with gangs, and should be transferred to a secure location immediately. They also said that Teddy's wife and son had been killed, possibly by the businessman's men as revenge. The officer didn't suspect anything. But after hanging up, that same female officer was seen talking to a mysterious man, meaning everything was part of a conspiracy. When she returned to the jail, Teddy asked about his wife and child. But she hid the truth and said that the investigation was still ongoing. Teddy became anxious but believed her. Meanwhile, Bob understood everything, that Teddy's family was no longer alive. Just then, another person arrived at the police station. The old man selling balloons was Anthony. But he was no ordinary man. He was a contract killer just like Bob. In fact, he was the same elderly man who had killed the police officers at the beginning. Now he had come to the station to eliminate his next target, Teddy. As soon as Anthony arrived, he started firing bullets. The female officer barely survived and ran toward the jail's secure area. But at that moment, her partner Hubo, who was already secretly working with the mafia, suddenly attacked the police chief and killed him. He also killed the injured prisoner present there. Now, the only person left alive in the station was the female officer. She went near the cell and began changing the password lock so that Anthony couldn't get inside. But Anthony fired so many bullets at the bulletproof glass that it shattered. The female officer fired back, but a ricocheted bullet hit her in the stomach. She fell down, badly injured, and started bleeding. Outside, Anthony kept trying to break the door. The female officer tried to bandage her wound using a medical kit. Just then, Anthony noticed Bob, who was still locked in the cell. Both of them recognized each other. They were both professional killers. Bob said that someone had previously placed a bounty on Teddy's head. Whoever tried to claim the $5,000 reward was killed by Anthony. Now everything was clear. Both were on the same mission, to kill Teddy. Bob warned Anthony not to interfere, or he would cut off his head. But Anthony didn't care. He made a plan to break through the wall. He saw that the back wall of the jail was only 30 centimeters thick, which he could break through to get inside. After that, Hubo tried to help Anthony. He asked the female officer for the password so he could assist. But the female officer, bleeding inside, heard everything. She no longer trusted anyone and refused to help. In anger, Hubo threatened to kill her. Meanwhile, Anthony and Hubo continued breaking the wall, and the female officer realized that if she didn't act now, her death was certain. She faced a difficult choice: whom to free, Bob, the killer, or Teddy, who appeared innocent but was selfish. In the end, she trusted Teddy. She threw him the key and even gave him her gun. Teddy came out and promised that he would bring the medical kit to save the officer. But when he got outside, the truth was revealed. Bob told him that the female officer had hidden the death of his wife and son. Enraged, Teddy completely lost control and went out to kill Anthony. Bob had already said that Teddy was an opportunist, a man who could go to any extent for his own benefit without morals. Now that truth was becoming clear. Meanwhile, the two officers who had gone earlier to investigate the incident site returned. They found no one in the station, only empty bullet shells and the sound of a wall breaking. When they went inside, they saw Hubo and Anthony breaking the wall together. One officer asked Hubo what he was doing. Hubo tried to explain, but Anthony suddenly fired at them. One officer was killed, and the other was injured. The injured officer promised Hubo that he wouldn't tell anyone anything. But Anthony handed Hubo a gun and forced him to kill his own partner, and Hubo shot him. At that moment, Teddy arrived with a gun. Anthony and Hubo ran away. Teddy picked up weapons, but instead of helping the injured female officer, he tried to find a way to save himself. The female officer now understood that Teddy was just as ruthless as Bob and could not be trusted. Still, she did not free Bob. even though he had secretly unlocked his handcuffs. Teddy and Anthony began a deadly game of hide-and-seek inside the police station. Anthony was very cunning. He cut off the electricity and turned on the water supply, filling the place with darkness and fear. Teddy fired towards sounds, but Anthony was nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, the injured officer who tried to escape, but Bob reached him and took his gun. Even though Bob was a killer, he didn't kill Who. Instead, he shocked him with electricity and cleaned his wounds with pepper spray. The fight between Teddy and Anthony continued. Anthony was shot, but he ignored it. He accidentally killed Who, mistaking him for an enemy. Just then, Bob attacked from behind. Anthony stabbed Bob's hand with a knife, but Bob fought back and defeated him. Bob decided to cut off Anthony's head and claim the $5,000 reward. At that moment, Teddy arrived. Both stood face to face. Bob calmly lowered his gun, but Teddy shot him. Then he killed Anthony as well. He had taken revenge for his wife and child. In memory of his wife, Teddy picked up a police gun and took 2 cans of petrol, setting the station on fire. Instead of saving anything, he chose to destroy everything. Then he noticed that someone had used the first aid kit, meaning the female officer was still alive. She appeared from behind, injured but alive. She had already called for backup and injected herself with adrenaline. Now the police station was about to be surrounded. She told Teddy to surrender, but instead, Teddy attacked her with a petrol can and ran toward the weapons room. Teddy grabbed an M416 rifle from upstairs, while the female officer reloaded her weapon. They came face to face again. The female officer fired first, but Teddy dodged. He tried to escape through the stairs, but the fire had spread everywhere. The officer fired in his direction. Teddy tried to escape, but the path upstairs was blocked. Finally, he decided to attack, but 2 bullets from the female officer knocked him down. An explosion threw them both aside. The female officer picked up her last remaining bullet and fired at Teddy. The bullet hit his side, but he didn't die. Suddenly, another attack came from behind. Someone shot the female officer with a tranquilizer gun. The attacker was Vicus's female spy, who was herself a corrupt officer. Just as she was about to finish the female officer, Bob returned alive. He had cut off Anthony's head and had come back to complete his mission. In the end, only Bob and Yang were left alive. Yang was an honest and just officer. Bob, though a killer, had his own moral code. He didn't kill innocents and kept his promises. He had even helped Yang escape from jail and survive. With Teddy's death, the revenge finally came to an end. The horrifying night that took place in the police station ultimately left only 2 people alive. One walking the path of justice, and the other standing by his own principles. And with this, the story comes to an end right here. If you love the story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.